You to the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for January 28th, 2021. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Approval of the minutes of the meetings of January 7th, 2021 and January 14th, 2021.
I make a motion to approve those minutes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence. Item A, correspondence received from Mr. Dean Button, City Engineer, advising work on Calumet Avenue by NIPSCO will be rescheduled. The start date to January 27th or 28th, 2021, due to weather conditions.
Good morning. Good morning to the board.
Good morning.
I am here to report that NIPSCO is in fact closed Calumet Avenue this morning. They will work straight through until the work is completed and then reopen. They expect a 24-hour closure that began this morning at 7 a.m.
Okay. Acknowledgement.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, correspondence received from Chief of Police William A. Short requesting approval of the retirement of Master Sergeant John Adam effective June 19th, 2021.
I motion to approve Chief Short's request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Matters from board members. Anything?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Matters from other department heads or their representatives? Any department heads? Anything? No? Okay. Item 8, new business. Item A, warranty deed for property located at 5137 Holman Avenue.
Good morning, Mr. President and Board. This is a request through the redevelopment department to transfer city-owned property downtown as part. It's right near the JCPenney, old JCPenney and Jefferson Hotel property that is going to be part of redevelopment. So this is just a transfer from the city to redevelopment so they can proceed with closing on that property for a new development in that area.
I make a motion to approve the transfer.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Linda.
Item B, resolution and quit claim deed for property located at 403 State Street.
Mr. President, this is just basically the back end of that property. Some of it is on Hammond and Sibley. Some of it is actually back on State, kind of near where the bridge is. This is an intergovernmental agreement from the Redevelopment Commission as well as a deed. I'd request that the board pass the intergovernmental agreement and then sign the deed. Again, the property would just be going from city to redevelopment.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the agreement.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item C, rental registration hearings on property located at 836 Field Street, 2732 Birch Avenue, 35 Doty Street, 4135 Holman Avenue, 3720 Toll Avenue, 1907 169th Street, and 637 143rd Street.
Good morning.
Mr. Farrell?
How are
Morning.
you guys today?
Good.
All right. The property located at 836 Field Street, I was in contact with the property owner. I'm requesting the board could give us a bit of a continuance. I'm going to mail out the agreement to the property owner. Her husband was affected by the current pandemic and is still in the hospital at the moment, and the doctors had requested that she remain distant to avoid making the situation worse.
How far out?
Yes, I did the same thing with the properties at 4135 Holman and 3720 Toll. I mailed those out on the 6th of January, and I still haven't received those back yet from Ms. Westerfield. So if we can maybe set out for 30 days, and then I should be able to get all the agreements back.
Here?
24th, the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to set the hearing for 836 Field Street to February 25th, 2020, or 2021, sorry.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
2732 Birch Avenue.
2732 Birch.
Yes.
I don't see anybody here, and I have not been in contact with the property owner. They have not reached out or requested to meet on the property. As far as the property itself, I believe it's a new owner who's listed at living in California. They were listed as the property owner, I want to say in August of 2020, and then subsequently they attempted to register it in November, but the lease was past the 30-day mark, and so they were requested to schedule the hearing.
And they reside where?
In Fullerton, California. There was a local property owner previously that the inspector was working with to deal with violations, and then the property changed hands, and so that owner sent in a rental registration form, but it was already past the deadline and not within the 30 days of the lease requirement. So as the owner fails to appear, I request the board deny the appeal for the late fees to be waived.
And they've been advised through mailings, I understand?
Yeah, their rental registration and check was mailed back, at which point they contacted the department and were instructed to schedule a rental registration hearing for 2020, which is where we're at today.
Okay.
So it's one unit for 2020.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to apply the late fee, a cost of $500 for 2732 Birch.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 35 Doty?
Yes, so I was able to sit down with the property owner who is present today and review the recommendation to waive the late fees due to the COVID pandemic impacting her ability to come and register the property. It is a 3-unit location with 1 unit owner occupied. So it would be my recommendation to waive the 2 late fees for the other 2 units and allow the owner to register at a rate of $5 per unit, totaling 10 for the year of 2020.
Did you say the owner's here?
Correct. Yep.
You agree to this arrangement? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I make a motion to approve the agreement between the city and the homeowner.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 4135 Holman Avenue?
Yeah, so this is the property owner that owns both 4135 Homan and 3720 Toll Avenue. That at the previous meeting on the 6th, I had mailed out the recommendations to her, and I have yet to receive them back completed. So I plan to reach out to her today to make sure that she had sent those back in. So if we could set this over for a week status date to ensure I can obtain those documents, I'd appreciate it. And that'd be for 4135 Homan and 3720 Toll Avenue.
Okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to set this over for status to next week's meeting, February 4th, 2021.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, 1907 169th Street?
1907? So the property is owned by actually a neighbor who just recently picked it up, right? You guys just purchased the
My
property?
parents, yeah.
Okay, they've just purchased the property. So I have the recommendation completed and filled out. I just need the owners to sign it. So if it's her parents, I would request that they, sign the document unless she has a POA or something authorizing her to act on their behalf. However, I'll let her speak on their behalf now. Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Okay. Hi.
Morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Just give us some insight as to the arrangement.
So I'm appearing on behalf of my parents, and they purchased the home that belonged to my grandparents that passed away, and they were considering putting the home for sale, but they had a person that was interested in renting it, so they went down that route. It wasn't until we spoke to somebody at the Hammond Waterworks Department about the rental registration, so I looked in, filled out the forms, but apparently it was like a day short of that 30-day window. So then they applied this $500 fee, or we can submit an appeal since they just were completely unaware of it. They don't own any other properties other than their, home that they reside in. So we did submit that appeal, and then I received a letter to appear for the hearing this morning.
You anything to add, Nick?
No, just a single-family home. This is the first time it's, being registered. So if the board would agree, I would request maybe if she could take.
To this, though, right? No. I'm just trying to understand. So you say there was already a $500 late fee applied to this property?
No, what happens whenever the property, if it's after the April 15th deadline,
Right.
you can still register the property as long as you have a lease that's signed with the tenant within 30 days, right?
Okay.
At that point, when the lease they brought in must have been after the 30-day period, and then that's when the secretaries downstairs wouldn't have accepted it and asked her to fill out a request for a hearing so
Okay.
that it could be in front of the board. I do have a recommendation to waive the late fees. However, if our parents aren't here, if the board feels moved to take action and waive, I'd be in agreement with that. Otherwise, I can have her take the agreement to her parents have signed, or the board can take a vote now.
Just inclined to waive the late fee, make sure her parents sign it right away, right?
Yeah.
It's good. Okay.
This is just one unit, right?
Correct, a single-family home, first time I registered.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to waive the late fee. I would ask that you have your parents sign the document as soon as possible, though. Okay?
Yeah.
That's my recommendation. Or, excuse me, my motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
All my information.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're not there yet. Okay, we're not there yet. Okay.
637.
Yeah. 637, 143rd Street?
All right, here. Okay, this property, it's actually, the legal address recognized by Lake County is 4245 Henry. It's a double, triple wide lot with two structures on it. The property is commonly known as 637 143rd Street. It sits to the south of the owner-occupied structure of 4245 Henry. It is a single-family home. They missed for 1 year. They did register last year on time, and I do have the recommendation here. So are you the property owner?
What is the year that was missed?
2020, just 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was the one that filled out the form for my parents, and my mom filled the check-in, and she mailed it out, but I guess they never received it. And then the next letter she got was saying that she had a fee and that she had to attend court. That was really it.
Okay. Anything?
It's a single-family home that sits adjacent to the owner-occupied property. We haven't had any issues there, and this is the only
It's
year.
been registered on time years past?
So it'd be the board's recommendation to waive the late fee. I can give her the agreement and ask that her parents sign it, and they can get it back to us, and then we can submit it to the third floor so they have a copy on file, if
Okay.
that pleases the board.
Okay.
Good, yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion to waive the late fee. Ma'am, we ask that you have your parents sign the sheet immediately, okay, as soon as possible.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Item D, property owner of 1115 Summer Street regarding neighborhood issues.
That's the guy that,
Mr. Galvin? Is there a Mr. Galvin?
we talked to him already.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, you gonna speak?
we're going to meet with him after the meeting, yeah.
Mr. Galvin wants to
Okay.
continue this at a future meeting, so he's going to cancel for the day.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'm moving along. Old business, item A, no parking signs, Jimenez Auto.
Mr. President, a couple weeks ago, Councilman Torres appeared and requested that we look into the no parking signs on or near Jimenez Auto, which is located on, I believe, 149th Street. What 100 block is that, Jeff?
4900 right there.
4900 block. Okay. There's been some complaints that the business, which appears to have outgrown its size, which is great for the business, is impacting the neighborhood. We've had complaints that auto repairs are happening in the street, that the no parking signs are impacting the ability for the neighbors to, or I'm sorry, there's been parking in areas that impact the neighbors' ability to access their own quiet enjoyment of their neighborhood. And so we wanted to look into this. Councilman Torres asked us to look into the history of the signs and find out what's going on. I've asked the Economic Development Department to come down here because Councilman Torres indicated that they're trying to look for a new location in the city to find out the status of that. I've also asked the Controller's Office to appear so that they can indicate the status of the business license on the property, and we can figure out where to go from here. So I guess if I could, I'd want to first ask Juan Moreno to give an update to the board on where we are regarding relocation. So.
Good morning, Mr. President, Board.
Good morning.
Yeah, Juan Moreno, City of Hammond Economic Development Department. I met Luis and Bianca from Jimenez Auto approximately in 2019 from Councilman Torres when these issues arise, and they did try from 2019 to present. We kept the correspondence. I have the emails of them trying to relocate due to they outgrown their, as Attorney Smith said, they outgrown their actual location. They continue to look for a new location. They also advised me that they are also seeking new real estate agent. They let go of their previous one, so they continue to look for a new location to try to solve this issue.
Have there been any properties that have interested them to this point?
Yes, we're actually looking at a property. It's off of Holman and Chicago Avenue, but as Councilman mentioned, that I believe you guys have a project in that area, so we're kind of just.
Let me ask our city engineer to come up. Dean, can you give the status of the old car wash just north of Chicago and Holman, next to the Ace Hardware? Is that going to the car wash north of there? Is that part of the Chicago Avenue project?
The car wash is not.
Okay.
There are two former auto, one car care auto on the southwest corner that's going to be demolished as part of the Chicago Street project. And then there was a used car lot on the southeast corner that's also going to be demolished. But the car wash itself is not part of the Chicago Street project.
So we're looking into that property. Besides that, we're also looking to see if we have any option available, whether we're trying to stay in the Hammond area. We've looked at plenty of properties and land also in order to try to see if we could get a permit to build on it. Due to everything is pretty small and limited parking space. And we don't want to have the same problem with the city. But other than that, we've just pretty much been looking, and the whole thing with the pandemic and a lot of things being closed has affected us in being able to further our search and stuff like that.
Okay.
So Juan, has there been anything concrete though, or is it just kind of like we're looking around, we're trying to find a spot? Has it gone anywhere past, these are the potential locations since 2019?
It's basically got about that far, potential locations that met their criteria. However, due to cost and their financial status and the pandemic, there was a stall on it. So they did, working with Tom Novak, the assistant city planner, they did have a site that they wanted to build on. However, with the, it was a small lot. It was a good size for the building, but there was going to be very limited parking, so same issues, different location.
Gotcha. I don't know if the board has any more questions for Mr. Moran.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
We'd like to, if
Thank you.
the Controller's
Thank you.
office
Thank
is
you.
available, we have our city controller here, I see. And so I'd like to ask her the status of the business license on the property.
Good morning, Board. Megan
Morning.
Flores, City Controller. In regards to the status for Jimenez Auto at 4847 Calumet Avenue, they have not had an active business license on file since 2013. So their last license would have expired as of 12/31/13. There was a 2020 license for Pepe's Tire Shop at the same address. But again, however, Jimenez Auto does not have an active business license with the city.
I don't know if the board has any questions. So if,
Just if
yeah.
I may, do you have a history on Pepe's business license?
Yes, they have been maintaining their license
They
and it
have
was
been.
up to date, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
throughout that time?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So Jimenez Auto, which I think is what is operating there, maybe Pepe's Tires is something else, hasn't had a license since 13, which means it'd be $200 a year from 14 all the way through, and then they obviously need to renew it for 2021 at 100. So that's kind of what's sitting out there. I don't know if the Jimenez's want to address that and why they don't have a business license. You can step up.
We had previously paid for, I believe, since 18, 19, and we tried for el 20, ¿no? We had paid for 18, 19, I believe, he said, but they wouldn't want to give us the permit.
We're talking about the business license.
Yeah, the business license, but we came to pay it here at City Hall. And then one previous year, they didn't give us a receipt on it. But we did come pay here.
For Pepe's or for Jimenez?
No, for Jimenez.
Okay, because we don't have a record of that, right, Megan?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I even spoke with Nicholas, I'm not sure what's his
Farrell,
last name.
he's here.
Yeah, I had spoken with him
Can
before.
we establish, is it two different businesses?
Yes,
So
it
you have
is.
nothing to do with the other one?
No, we don't.
Okay. And but what happened in 14, 15, 16? If we,
I was previously not there, que porque no teníamos permiso en ese tiempo. Después del 13, que ya no teníamos permiso. Del 13,
Pues siempre he venido a pagar y nunca van a dar. Siempre, todos los años venimos.
porque dicen que después del 13 no tienen registros de nada, de que hubo un
Pero yo venía y pagaba y decían que iban a mandar a alguien y nunca mandaban, cada año así me decían.
Oh, he said that every year he has came before to pay, but they say that they're always going to send somebody out for further inspection and everything, and they never get back to us.
what can you add, Nick? Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, excuse me. In 2018, I was asked to fill the role as a commercial business license inspector to kind of deal with a few issues that were popping up across the city. This property came across my desk with the license application that was submitted in 2018. The issue that we ran into was, although they had licenses prior to 2013, they allowed their license to lapse for those years, at which point the tire shop had submitted their application. So from a zoning standpoint, that location has never been approved as a 2-unit commercial property. It would be considered an over-occupancy. So when one license failed to be renewed and a new license came in, they saw it as a new business operation taking occupancy in that single commercial unit. when what actually happened was a secondary business came in. One business allowed their license to lapse, and the other has maintained a valid license on time since the time being. Therefore, we can only honor the business that has maintained a valid license every year in operation. Jimenez Auto, their license application was denied because the city couldn't approve it as the location was not approved to be occupied by two separate commercial businesses, which is why we're having the issues with the vehicles that we are today.
So, so is Pepe's in the same space as Jimenez?
Yeah.
Different owners? You understand what Mr. Farrell's saying? That
Yes.
you're only supposed to have one business under that roof. And so I don't know who's,
We didn't know, since
Right.
he had previously had a license there.
right, so we got that issue going on now as well.
Kevin, do they own
Yeah.
do they own the building?
No, we don't. We
Okay,
rent-
who,
We rent it.
so whoever owns the building allowed that second business in there at some point?
Yes.
You had nothing to do with that?
No.
And who owns the business? Who owns the building, sorry?
Efraín Delgado.
What is it called?
Efraín.
Efraín Delgado.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So they're both leasing.
Does he have anything to do with Pepe's, do you know?
No,
He's not, okay, so he's just the landlord,
yes,
all right.
Is he local? Is the owner of the building local, do you know?
Yes.
He is?
And I don't know, Mr. Jimenez, or if you want to address this issue that we're having with the parking, if you guys want to talk about that and explain what the situation is, or how you believe it could be corrected, or what your plans are outside of moving to another location.
well, we were trying to see at least if we could be able to get the signs taken down from one side of the street in order for us to be able to not have problem with our neighbors and stuff. Our neighbors, most neighbors are really helpful. We actually rent two of their driveways and stuff due to the parking that we don't have and the space that we're very limited to. We've only been doing by appointments to avoid all these cars and the traffic. And we pretty much we're looking for another space because we know that, it's causing too much problems. We're getting bigger, we've outgrown the space, and pretty much just in the meantime that we were able to find another property and be able to move out. But we are considering looking to stay in Hammond because we really, our business is pretty much here.
And I don't want to get you in more hot water, but you're not supposed to be renting out residential driveways for commercial use.
No, we're not renting. Our neighbor, we don't pay them for
Right.
it, our neighbors just tell us because they know that
But you're
we're,
utilizing it for your business.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, you're not supposed to be utilizing a private driveway for business purposes, because it's a residential neighborhood. I mean, that's another issue, so.
Doing away with parking
but
spaces is going to help
the
business.
two owners are from there, they're part of our family. So,
Okay.
It's,
I understand.
I think we
But
need,
the idea is,
we need
like,
to
if you're in a
talk to the owner,
neighborhood,
sure.
you can't just park cars that you're working on in on a residential street. That's the issue. Like, because if that was the case,
Right.
you could have, cars up and
Right,
down
no, you're
residential
right.
streets for a business. So, and I know Councilman Torres is here, and I'm sure he wants to be heard a little bit as well. Does the board have any other questions on where we're at?
Well, the only thing I would say is, I hope you understand, removing the signs might be better for you, but it's not better for the residents that live around the business.
Right.
Nor is it better for police officers, fire trucks, plows that have to go through that street.
right.
Because I've personally seen that you guys do change tires, you do oil changes in the street, you park too far from the curb sometimes to do that work. So there's issues that are going on that makes it very difficult for us to even consider removing the no parking signs. I hope you understand that. And we can appreciate that you've outgrown your business, but in the meantime, we have to make sure that we keep the neighborhood safe and accessible and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's a problem for us. I hope you understand that.
Councilman, did you want to say anything?
The only thing I want to add that since I came on 16, and they've been there for a good 12 years or so, but it is a viable business for the city. I wish the board would work with them in their effort to relocate them. And perhaps they got come and walk-in customers. I've suggested to them to have customers, clients by appointment only. Maybe that'll help alleviate the situation. But he just became too popular and a good shop, and everybody knows it, so they go there to get the work done. So I asked for the board to work with them and try to help them get relocated. And just want to mention that Juan has been working with them. Things haven't worked out because of the pandemic and the financial situations, but I think they're close to finding another location.
Thank you, Councilman.
So I'm not sure the action of the board. I mean, at this point, there's been a request from Councilman Torres to remove the no parking signs. I know that the police department has agreed, or the law department, in speaking with the police department, has agreed to throw out, or probably going to dismiss the last dozen tickets that were put on there. But I think we need to let Mr. Jimenez know he cannot remove tickets from the cars that are being placed there, because that puts they're written to the car owner. Mm-hmm. And so if they do place additional tickets because of safety, and we've discussed this, we want to be real careful about the safety of the going around the corners. I mean, fire trucks have to be able to go down there if they need to. And so the police department is still going to write tickets there, but we're going to dismiss anything that was written prior. Just to kind of start fresh and have the discussion and keep the discussion going to see if it improves on the street. But I mean, moving forward, it's the board's pleasure on how they want to address this. We've looked, it appears that there's nothing in the minutes from before regarding the posting of these signs. That doesn't mean that the board can't determine next week to put them up for 90 days as a trial period again, and then we can go from there. But it seems like this is an ongoing issue. I'd like to task economic development with hopefully working on a new location for these folks. I mean, it's a good thing that their business is doing great, but at the same time, we have to work within the constraints of the neighborhood.
Understood. You want to kick this, give us some time here?
Yeah, because I'd like to have Delgado, if we can get Delgado's information. Kevin,
Yes,
I'd like to at some point get a hold of Delgado and see if
We can get the
him
property
here.
owner's information and
Yeah.
ask him to
Can you
appear here.
provide,
I don't think the city's going to go back and approve.
After the meeting.
In there now.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if they can
You get it from
business. Make them move.
Yeah, we want to get Mr. Delgado here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he comes here and we make him go back to one business being in that building, and it's them, does that give them the space they need, or is it still going to be an issue?
I mean, is there an issue from traffic because of Pepe's, or is it just that you've outgrown it?
No, I think it's just because we've outgrown it.
It sounds like that would.
So it wouldn't make a difference then? Okay.
They have a lot of cars.
Well, I mean, it would take some vehicles off the street on 149th Street, right, and put them on the property off Calumet Avenue, would it not? A little bit.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I'd like to add something also that for many years, we've been having problems because a lot of their customers, they park in the alley. And when it's our time to pick up the garbage, we always have to blow the horn. And if they don't come out on time, we have to call a supervisor right away to talk to the owner, whoever, that person is. But
So there's also problems in the alleys.
yes, they do.
Mr. Perez has pointed out that we also have problems in the alley with cars being blocking for the garbage trucks to go down. So that's another issue, is that we really have to make sure that the city vehicles, both from public safety and public sanitation perspective, are able to maneuver in the street. And I hope you can understand that, because if there's an emergency, or even just the weekly garbage pickup or recycling pickup, we have to be able to do that.
This isn't an easy fix, man.
I don't know what the board's pleasure is, if they want to set this over for a status in a couple weeks.
In the short term, I think that would probably be fair. So just to give us a chance to do a little bit more due diligence, see if we can get a hold of the business owner. Pepe's tire repair came there after you folks did?
Yeah,
You guys are first?
You guys were there first, right? And then the tire shop coming after?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do status one. You want to go to the 11th?
If I might add, I believe the owner of the tire shop is happy with his location, so he's gonna resist moving if he can.
Well, if the space is not big enough for them anyway, they're probably gonna be the ones that.
No, I can understand that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a two-business location. I can understand that.
So in the meantime, we have to still continue writing, I mean, we have
Yeah, I
to,
don't
there's
see how
nothing we
you
can
can.
do.
You have to do what you have to do, and in the meantime, we also have to figure out if there's a violation from two businesses being there. The fact that there's no business license is an issue. So, I mean, I'll speak to Councilman Torres after the meeting to see if we can start thinking about solutions. But we gotta get to the bottom of this, because it's no good for the neighborhood, but it's also tough on the business. I mean, I want them to be successful, but they have to work within either the constraints of the neighborhood, or we have to find them a new place.
Well, sometime in the next 2 weeks, can they catch up on the business license thing, or are we not able to accept it because of the?
I think Mr. Farrell makes a good point, is that
Right.
we can't, as a city, you can't accept two business licenses at a location where there's only supposed to be one. So I think we can work through that, but we gotta figure out what business is gonna be there and how we are gonna remove one of them, or, it's definitely a problem. We've got a pretty tangled web.
Let's do 2 weeks and see if we can,
Okay. Then, can we try to get a hold of Mr. Delgado? And my motion's gonna be to set this over for status to, February 11th, 2021.
And to request him to bring any leases he has.
Yeah. If you could bring any paperwork you have of a lease of the, the business when you moved in there and so on and so forth.
And then I don't know who's gonna get a hold of Mr. Delgado, but request him to bring him as well.
I'd like Pepe's here. I mean, if they can, they probably should be here also to explain when they moved in and what agreement they had with Mr. Delgado at the time. Okay.
so just, go ahead, Gene.
No, so,
Just to be clear, Nick, they cannot receive a business license due to the fact that it's only zoned for one business to be in the building, correct?
Right, that's initially the grounds in which the license was denied in 2018.
So once they defaulted, then they lost that opportunity.
In 2013.
Right.
So it was already less by 5 years by the time I received
Okay.
a new license application. And at that
I
point.
understand that.
If we would have signed off on it, then the city's basically accepting the existence of the two
Right.
businesses at that property.
Understood.
Providing zoning ordinance.
Okay.
But Pepe's was in there also from 13 to 18?
Correct. There was a time period, and this is before, my existence, where there were, I think, 2 years where both licenses existed, and then one lapsed, and then the other continued to be renewed, and that's in 2018 when I received their new license application. There had only been a single license issued there for 5 years already, and I wasn't going to approve it.
Okay.
With it violating zoning ordinance.
Okay. Anything else, Councilman? Juan, anything else?
Yes, only with Attorney Smith's permission on this, they're respectfully requesting if we can get at least 30-day continuance. That way, if we are requesting that Mr. Delgado appear to the next meeting, we have enough time to provide the address to staff and send a letter out. And at the same time, Councilman Torres, Attorney Smith, myself can work out and maybe try to get an agreement for them to make it one of their policies there to just have appointments, not walk-ins to their business, to try to help the situation from right now until the next date.
I don't have a problem with 30 days, but as long as the Jimenezes understand that in that time, the police department is still going to be writing tickets potentially, that they have to clear the alley to make sure that the sanitation department and the public works department can get through, and they have to be careful about parking cars near the corners so that fire trucks, if they need to be on that block, can get around the corner. I have no problem with 30 days.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, then I will change my motion to set the meeting over for status from February 11th, and then I will be February 25th, 2021.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Meeting open to the public. Anyone here care to speak?
Yes, sir. Jerome Francisci. Last time I stood in front of this board was Thursday, August 28th, 1969. That day I was sworn in on the police department, stayed there 37 years, I think it's the best police department still is in the country. Retired after 37 years. Judge Harkin asked me if I would be a bailiff. Told him I would for 3 years, making it even 40, but I stayed there 13. Closed the courtroom down. Mayor McDermott, always been great to me, asked me if I was interested in being the armed security guard in City Hall. So here I stand, 51 and a half years later, and I think it's time to call it quits. When I joined the police department, I wanted to bring one point up. It wasn't for the money. I still have my original pay stub. We made $4.14 an hour. $4 an hour. But it was a great place to work. I worked with so many great people, policemen, firemen, Mr. Smith, Kelly, great guys, code enforcement I worked with all the time. I spent 17 years in Robertsdale, so I got some good firemen food when they were cooking. They fed me up there real good. So tomorrow's my last day to work. I'm going to spend my money on my grandkids before the boat gets it. And with that, I wish everybody be safe and be careful. And I want to thank 51 and a half years.
Very well said, Jerry. Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Hard act to follow there. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, before I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, I just want to tell Jerry, I love you and I'll miss you. I got to work with you a lot of years, and
And I know where I'll see you.
very good man, yes,
We'll
yes.
meet each other.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.